Thank you, Chair and distinguished senators. My name is Samson Itodo, and I'm the Executive Director of YAGA Africa. I also double as the convener of the Not Too Young to Run movement. Mr. Chairman, YAGA Africa completely aligns with the previous position advanced by PLAC, Spaces for Change, Amnesty International, and the Center for Democracy and Development, to the effect that this 8th Assembly, this 9th Assembly, should not only trash this bill, but to halt its continuous consideration. And we say this for 4 reasons. First, we align with the fact that this bill itself is going to be a legislative overkill, because it will be duplication and over-regulation of a space that belongs to citizens. Second, of course, it contravenes provisions of international instruments. And these are reasons, and we completely align with these reasons. But Mr. Chairman, distinguished senators, there are 3 fundamental examples that I will draw your attention to. First is today, this 9th Senate is considering a bill on sexual harassment. And we know that there's a preponderance of cases in the public domain where young women are not only dehumanized, but they are harassed in our tertiary institutions, and not just tertiary institutions, across society. The only avenue where over the last few months this information has come to public domain is through social media. So any attempt to regulate that space will infringe on the rights of young women as well as our mothers. The second point is around elections, Mr. Chairman and distinguished colleagues. All of you seated here are beneficiaries of an electoral process that is open and transparent. And civil society groups use these platforms to hold INEC to account when elections are conducted. Any attempt to regulate this space will diminish the quality of our elections. And we are grappling today with the state of our elections. The third point, the sponsor makes a case about young people. The senator isn't a young person. I am a young person, and I have led struggles for young people, and I'm still leading struggles. Majority of young people in this country today are against this bill. And forget about what you see on social media. If you consult widely, the senator talks about, and one senator talks about digital economy. What this bill seeks to do is to remove food from the table of young people. And at this point, where as a country we're saying that the unemployment rate has led to a situation where we are sitting on a time bomb. The bomb has already exploded. It's exploded in the northwest. It's exploded in the north central. It's exploded in the northeast. It's exploded in the southwest. It's exploded everywhere. And so what we want to do, using the instrumentality of this bill, is to further create a space where young people will lack food to eat or resort to all forms of vices and criminality. And this 8th Senate, this 9th Senate.
Don't worry, we'll take legislative notice.
This 9th Senate needs to answer this call of history. And I want to plead with you on behalf of Nigerian youths that you trash this bill and halt its further consideration, because...
1 more minute to go.
Thank you. Because it goes beyond infringing on human rights or shrinking the civic space, but it diminishes the entire sense of nationhood and citizenship. And at a time when polarization is at the heart of what this country grapples with, I think that what the 9th Senate can do, and if you do this, you write your name in bold, particularly this committee, is to, as you forward your report, is to call on your colleagues to kill this bill and Nigerians will be happy for you. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Invest in existing protocol. First of all, I would like to express our appreciation for the opportunity to make our submissions here today. Exactly 5 weeks ago today, we held a town hall meeting by AIT Live, our online platform, in which we invited various stakeholders, many faces whom I see here today, to come and participate and deliberate on the issues of this bill. A lot has already been said here today. Let me say that Dar Communications fully aligns with the positions that have been here canvassed. We are completely opposed to this bill. We think this bill should be thrashed now as opposed to amended. And I would like to share a little bit more light why we are taking this position without necessarily repeating all the arguments that have thus far been canvassed. I take cognizance of the introductory remarks by the sponsor of the bill, where he said that this bill is in the public interest. But having listened to all his remarks, it is very difficult to see what he has said which advances public interest beyond the fact that in our extant laws that we are able to deal with most of the crimes that are so-called crimes. The only difference is that this bill attempts to take away the right of fair hearing, the right of an individual to go through the courts and have a judicial process determine whether what is said is true or not. This bill, in other words, gives a monopoly to government, or rather to an apparatus of government, the police force, a monopoly in deciding what is truth and what is false. And we think that this is not something that can stand. It is unfortunate, I think, that one of the clauses in part 2 of the bill says it's a problem to diminish public confidence in any duty or function of, or in the exercise of any power by government. Here we can only conclude that the intention is to reintroduce the law of sedition into our legal system under the guise of the Protection from Internet Falsehood and Manipulation Bill, because sedition is a law made as a safeguard by the government in its favor against all forms of criticisms. An offense of sedition is not deemed to have been committed based on false prepositions, but rather because the truth was told or published and appears to be embarrassing to the government. In other words, the words of publications are perceived to be seditious because they are regarded as an embarrassment to government. And I would like to remind distinguished senators that Chief Justice Ademola in the case DPP versus Obi had stated in 1985 that it is clearly legitimate and constitutional by means of fair arguments to criticize the government in a malignant manner as described in this case, and that sedition has ceased to exist with the phenomenon of fake news or disinformation, as we prefer to call it. And we as Dar Communications, and I believe all stakeholders, will be delighted to work with governments in developing appropriate responses, policies, guidelines, legislations, and codes of practice which will address the crux of the issue. I take cognizance of the fact the sponsor mentioned that he did not consult anyone in drafting this. 1 minute to go. Yes. I think even advanced democracies with more resources, better technology, and more effective enforcement agencies have unanimously agreed that this phenomenon of fake news and disinformation is not someone that any single government can deal with by its own. It requires a stakeholder approach. And so therefore, in conclusion, I would advise, and it's the position of Dar Communications, that this bill be withdrawn. We would like to partner and work with the National Assembly. In our submission, we have made a number of proposals on how we can go about attaining the aims and objectives of this bill without compromising the rights, fundamental rights to freedom of expression. Thank you very much.